Welcome to another OU Insider Under the Visor YouTube live powered by Riverwind Casino. My name is Brandon Drum, Parker Thune, Spencer Forsythe on the board. Bye week, and it's a fun bye week if you're a college football fan. However, if you're an Oklahoma fan, it's been bye weeks are never boring.
We've had better bye weeks in the past.
Bye weeks are never. But you're covering Oklahoma, like bye weeks are never boring. The good news is, this happened on a bye week. I guess if there was any good news that this was going to take place, which I'm sure you cannot find any silver lining in this at all if you're an OU fan. So there's some time, right, for Mateer to potentially get better. We'll find out the exclusive timeline here in a few days, I'm sure. However, we're going to talk about that. We're going to answer your super chat questions. We're going to talk about recruiting, and we're going to talk about Oklahoma's schedule moving forward in the SEC. Do you like it? Let's talk some Lane Kiffin as well. I want to talk about those comments. That was funny. Funny stuff from old Lane. He's never boring as well. But before we do all that, Parker, let's thank our sponsors.
Certainly. Let's do it. And that begins with Riverwind Casino. You all know where it's at, right off of I-35 and Highway 9, just south of Norman. It's been the OKC area's premier gaming destination for nearly 2 decades now, folks. Almost 3,000 electronic games, table games, bars and dining options, plus the best live music in the metro. It's no surprise that Riverwind is always a good time. This stream also brought to you in part by Jana King, the greatest team to ever clean, and a proud partner of OU Athletics, in addition to us at OU Insider. Now, Jana King is, as I mentioned, the greatest team to ever clean, delivering spotless results and solutions from stadiums to any size business across the country. So check out which of their solutions is best for you or your business by going to janiking.com. That's JANIKING.com. And finally, a word from Mando. Fall is here. Crisp air, football, maybe a bonfire or two. You know that feeling? It's game day. You've been working hard all week. Your lucky jersey might be smelling a little too lucky. Let's be honest. Regular deodorant just doesn't cut it. After a long day, things can get pretty ripe. But there's a real game changer. Mando Deodorant Plus Sweat Control. This isn't just another cover-up. Mando is one stick, 2 jobs. Powerful odor and sweat control. It actually stops odor before it even starts. No more masking. Just freshness. Mando's new Deodorant Plus Sweat Control Solid Stick gives you double the protection you need. No more worrying about sweat stains or those embarrassing pit rings. Just all-day freshness and dryness. Now, Mando's starter pack is perfect for new customers. It's going to come with that solid stick deodorant, the cream tube deodorant, 2 free products of your choice like the mini body wash and deodorant wipes, and free shipping. As a special offer for our listeners, new customers are going to get 20% off site-wide with our exclusive code. So use code INSIDER at shopmando.com. That's SHOPMANDO.com. Again, 20% off site-wide plus free shipping. Please support our show. Tell them we sent you.
All right, well, let's talk about it, Parker. Obviously, John Mateer had surgery today out there in sunny California, it seems like. His name was it Dr. Lin? Is that what his name was? Exactly.
Dr. Shin.
Dr. Shin.
Even Shin.
Shin, yep. I mean, so far so good, right? From everything.
I love all the Stephen Shin memes, man.
Yeah, they've been great.
Twitter has been on a legendary heater today with the Stephen Shin memes. And apparently I was having dinner earlier tonight with my younger sister who goes to OU, and apparently if you're a college student, there's this social media app that they all use at OU called Yik Yak. And apparently there are Stephen Shin memes all over Yik Yak as well. So
love it.
It's iconic. It's been an iconic day across all social media when it comes to OU fans' activity.
Yeah. So look, we talked about it on an emergency pod. We'll talk about it here as well. But yeah, it's been crazy, man. Just wild stuff, just because, this came out of the blue. We heard about, we knew he got dinged up a little bit on the knee. We knew the hand was a little dinged up. We didn't know the extent of it because he played. He played the whole game. The knee was a little banged up before the game, but nothing to the extent where, like, it needed to be put out there, all that type of stuff. And then all of the sudden, he goes and talks with Herb Street, right? He goes uh, on a podcast. He even both hands even go up on the podcast. There's no cast, there's no splint, there's nothing on there, which I'm sure was very coordinated just in case he moved his hand up there for just a limited amount of time. They probably took it off, I would assume. But then you break the news that he's having surgery, like shortly after. Bombshell news. Um, but I got to ask, if you were going to do it, this has to be the perfect time, right?
This is as ideal a timetable as you could ask for because you get the bye and then you get the cupcake on the other side in Kent State. And it's unfortunate that the game that I think is most in doubt right now, most seriously in doubt, most seriously in question, I should say, as to John Mateer's availability, just so happens to be the Red River Shootout. I mean, at this point, my expectation is he's back for South Carolina. Obviously, he's not going to play against Kent State. We understand that. That was made very clear in the university's press release yesterday. So the game that is in question is the game that it feels like every single OU football season in many ways kind of hinges on. And so, man, I think this is why you get Stephen Shin to do the surgery, right? Because you're hopeful that everything goes flawlessly and he's able to get on an accelerated recovery timetable and he's able to play in the Cotton Bowl. Again, my expectation, and mentioned this yesterday on the emergency pod we did, my expectation based on the early conversations I've had is that Mateer does not play in the Texas game.
Same.
But again, that expectation is based on what we know before the surgery. The timetable will obviously become more clear and more specific after the surgery.
I,
So, I
I
mean,
want to add this, Parker, real quickly before you
yeah,
finish up here. Just real quick. I talked to somebody today. It's a good source, by the way, like really good one. And I said, well, here in 3 to 5 weeks, some people are talking, they're dreading the end of the season. And I said, but I'm hearing 3 to 5 weeks. And they said, oh, that's what you're hearing? And I said, yeah. And they just giggled. They just giggled. And I said, well, what about Texas? And they just giggled. I'm not trying to get people's hopes up, but there's always that gamesmanship that goes around when it comes to this, particularly OU Texas gamesmanship. I mean, we're talking about people that spy on each other, right? Um, so I've just found that interesting. I know you and I, we do this all the time where we kind of try to read between the lines with people we talk to. I found that interesting. And again, I'm not trying to get people's hopes up. I'm not saying that that's going to happen. Parker and I both agree South Carolina is more likely than Texas. Ole Miss may be more likely than South Carolina. However, you just can't rule it out because we know that dude's a gamer and he's tough as nails. So it's just when they giggle like that, I imagine you could probably decipher the giggle part, but like it's just funny. I love the gamesmanship, Parker. I love OU Texas gamesmanship. 100%. It's fun. We have a super chat, by the way.
we have
Huge.
two super chats.
And one's massive.
Yes, Jacob Matthews gave us $2 and said, please just give us some good news about anything. And I suppose that qualifies. There's a chance, right?
There's a
There's a
chance.
chance John Mateer's back for the Red River Shootout. And
Lloyd Dumb and Dumber chance.
OU fans are going to hold out hope for that very outcome.
Yep.
Tyler Claiborne tossed us a $50 super
The
chat.
man,
And look,
Tyler.
folks, yeah, thank you, Tyler. You don't have to give as much via the super chat function as Tyler did. That is above and beyond
We'll take
generous.
it.
Thank you, Tyler. But we will read your super chat no matter what amount is attached
Correct.
to it. Those automatically get bumped to the top of the queue throughout the live stream. And so here we go. Here is Tyler's super chat. With Mateer out, are the odds higher he stays another season? In that scenario, and the likelihood of Hawkins burning his red shirt this year, does Hawkins entertain transferring? You couldn't pay me enough to navigate this as a coach. Okay, so there's a lot here.
Mm.
And to be clear, we are 3 months away, 3 months away, 3+ months away from the transfer portal window opening. So consider this conversation very preliminary and understand that a lot will change between now and the end of the regular season. As of September 24th, 2025, here is what I know in that regard. Well, here's what I think and what I know. I think John Mateer's injury, John Mateer's rehab, is not going to drastically affect his NFL draft stock. It will not drastically affect his production this year. It's probably not going to drastically affect his Heisman odds either, especially if he only misses one game, that being the Kent State game. This is a guy that, okay, thumb surgery or no thumb surgery, he's regarded as one of the absolute best signal callers in the country and is starting to pick up first round buzz. I don't get the sense of thumb surgery, this thumb operation is going to change that. Like you expect, right, that when John Mateer is back on the football field, he's going to be playing ball at the same level he was playing it at before the injury and after the injury, right? Because he suffered it in the first quarter of this football game back on Saturday and played the final three quarters with the injury that he's now getting surgery on. So John Mateer looked like himself with a banged up knee and a banged up thumb and completed 16 of his final 17 passes. So he's a warrior, he's a gamer, and that alone is all the proof you need that he's not substantially affected by the ailment. And so I think whether or not Mateer stays is going to be less dependent upon, in my mind, upon his individual campaign, because I think he's going to have a strong individual season. And there's no reason why we shouldn't be talking about John Mateer at the end of the football season as a guy that's a likely first round pick. Unless this thing just crashes and burns, and I don't think it will, John Mateer is going to remain in those conversations. I think it's going to be more of a question of does he feel if he stays another year at Oklahoma that he can win a national championship and maintain his status as a first round pick? And is that a gamble you're willing to take? Because, I mean, there is some risk that comes attached with that, right? If you're going to play another season of college football and try to position yourself not just as a first rounder, but maybe as the number one overall pick in the following draft, you also got to keep in mind, okay, especially with the style of football John Mateer plays, maybe he incurs an injury that affects his game much more severely than a fracture in his thumb. And so I think when it comes down to it, the conversations that Mateer and his folks are going to be having at season's end is not necessarily, oh, where am I going to get drafted? It's, do I feel like I have unfinished business at Oklahoma that I can finish in 2026?
Yeah.
And on the Hawkins end of things, if he has to burn his red shirt, he's going to do it. Obviously, he's a program guy. That said, I think it is everyone's preference if Hawkins is able to maintain the red shirt. And so do the math here. He's only appeared in one game to this point. It was against Temple. He plays against Kent State. He plays against Texas. You're still at 3 games. You can play him in one more regular season game the rest of the way and preserve the red shirt. And that is what everyone wants. Everyone on both sides, Hawkins' side and the OU side, they want to preserve the red shirt in 2025 for obvious reasons. I think where things are going to get really, really sticky is if Hawkins does wind up having to burn the red shirt at some point this season and Mateer chooses to come back next year. That's where I think and look, it's just business at that point. Hawkins is probably transferring in that world. Now, I would say there's a chance. I don't know how much of a chance right now, but I would say there is a chance that even if Hawkins is able to preserve the red shirt, if Mateer comes back in 2026, yes, there's a chance Hawkins decides to go and take his talents elsewhere. That would be on the table. Do I know conclusively that it would happen or it would likely happen? Whether that's a likelihood more so than just a chance, I don't right now. But what everyone is hoping, I think, what everyone on the OU side is hoping, is that John Mateer returns to the field as quickly as possible. He continues to play high level ball the remainder of the season, keeps Oklahoma in playoff contention and keeps himself in Heisman contention, and continues to maintain that first round buzz such that at the end of the campaign, he can hand the baton cleanly to Hawkins and walk away. What you would hope is a very bright future at the professional level, content and satisfied, and his legacy secure as the guy that helped stabilize things at the University of Oklahoma amidst very tumultuous times for the football program. That is the ideal scenario.
Can I add that there's actually even a bigger silver lining to all this, in that in your scenario that Mateer leaves and goes pro and he's all this, and Hawkins still gets to keep his red shirt, and you're still getting to have him start against Kent State, Texas, and potentially South Carolina and get those three huge in-game leadership, being the guy experience once again, with a better supporting cast around him, with potentially building his confidence up heading into the 2026 season, and then he becomes the guy. That couldn't be a better scenario for Michael Hawkins. Assuming that's how it works out, right? Like, that could not be a better scenario. He goes in, let's say they potentially, hypothetically, go 3-0, and he leads them to a 3-0 record. And he throws for 200 plus yards and multiple touchdowns in those 3 games. If you're Oklahoma and in that scenario and Mateer goes, all right, I'm going to the pros, I'm going to be a first round draft pick, great. If you're Ben Arbuckle, if you're Brent Venables and you're Oklahoma fans, you look at that and you're like, hell yes, this is the best scenario. We got our dude that's going to be the guy next year. He was able to start the OU Texas game and win. He's able to go to South Carolina and win and start off with a cupcake and pad his stats versus Kent State in a win. That is huge, Parker. Huge for their success. And like you said, the stability that Mateer throws out there, and you add that to it, BV goes from having such bad luck to rolling into potentially some of the best luck. And you also have Bo Bentley rolling in, right? And you return Whit Neubauer. Not bad.
Not
Not
bad at
bad.
all.
All right, go ahead.
We have
There's
more
another
super
super chat.
chats.
Yep.
Yes, we do. Jacob Matthews said, any people from Oklahoma State worth taking if they get in the portal? You know, I discussed this on the radio the other day. Here's the reality of the situation. Oklahoma doesn't have any glaring holes on this roster.
Mm-hmm.
There aren't any position groups where you would say, okay, at season's end, Oklahoma's going to need portal help there. I mean, maybe tight end is the first position group, perhaps the only position group that remotely sticks out. But Oklahoma doesn't have much reason to pursue transfers from UCLA, Oklahoma State, and Virginia Tech midseason for several reasons. One being, those rosters are not very good. Secondly, again, Oklahoma doesn't have a ton of apparent needs, at least right now, as you project ahead to 2026. And it's hard to project ahead to 2026. And third, Oklahoma's overall talent level on the roster, I would say, is high enough such that you don't want to pursue somebody at any position unless you feel confident that they are a premium option. I think you're past the point as a program where you're taking guys just to fill spots, right?
Yeah.
I think Oklahoma's well beyond that, and that's not the Jim Nagy way anyway. Why would Jim Nagy take a guy just to fill a spot? And so you have a very limited pool of players. UCLA, Oklahoma State, Virginia Tech. Those are the 3 teams that have players in the provisional portal window right now. You have players from those 3 rosters, and that's it. Why would you go pursue transfers from those 3 rosters? Again, unless you're talking about an absolute certifiable dude at a position where you know you're going to need somebody. as opposed to waiting for the standard portal window in January, when you will be dealing with a talent pool that consists of players from 135 other FBS institutions, as well as guys that are ready to make the leap from the FCS and D2 ranks.
Yeah, I don't know that you really need to go looking for Oklahoma State guys to join your ranks. And to be frank, I don't know that there is anybody over there that Oklahoma just is chomping at the bit to get. I mean, can you think of a name, Parker, on that Oklahoma State roster where you're like, oh, yeah, maybe if Presley had another year, right? You might look at that, the wide receiver position. You know what? Never mind. Um, there is probably one wide receiver. Has he even been healthy this year?
Who's that?
Oh my God. Talon Shetron. Has he even been healthy this year?
I haven't heard his name much at all over the course of his time at Oklahoma State.
Yeah, I mean that would be the only one I would even remotely think would be at Oklahoma's level. I need to look it up now. I haven't really paid much attention to Oklahoma State, to be honest. So, um, I'm looking it up right now. But yeah, I don't know. Let me tell you what his stats are this year. Well, he has 245 yards already this season and a touchdown, 20 yards in average. It's not bad. So, anyways, do we have another super chat?
We do.
Okay.
This coming from Travis Stockton. How do y'all expect the offensive game plan to change with Hawk at the helm? Heard he has significantly improved over the last year. Thanks, fellas.
Uh, okay. Repeat that question. How do you think the offensive game plan?
Yeah, how do y'all expect the offensive game plan to
I
change
don't
with
think it
Hawk at the
changes
helm?
at all. I mean, for one, it's Kent State. I think they're going to be pretty bland. So I wouldn't expect a whole heck of a lot. I think they're probably going to try to get the run game going with the running backs. I think you're probably going to see them try to take a few shots downfield to build Hawkins' confidence up. And I think Oklahoma's going to try to shut out Kent State to impose their dominance even more as far as defensive, optics. Outside of that, I don't see a whole heck of a lot of excitement coming from. I mean, I think you'll see Hawkins run a few times and he may break a big one because of his speed. I mean, he's different. Like you talk about speed, that dude's different. Um, but I don't, Parker, I really don't. Like, I think you're going to see a lot. If you think Illinois State was boring, wait till you see how they attack Kent State offensively. I just don't think it's going to be like wide open because they don't need to be wide
Really?
open. You have Texas coming up next week.
But you are starting a quarterback that has not
No, I get it.
started a football
That's
game
what I'm talking
since
about.
last December.
That's what I'm talking about. They're going to take some shots down the field to build his confidence up. They'll probably get, Canick open over the middle a little bit. I think you'll see Giovanni Gibson get indoctrinated into the offense, just
And
to
that's
try
the
to get
big
him
thing for
going.
me.
Yep.
Like, I think that's going to be the primary objective against Kent State is
Agreed.
I think you will see a more diverse offensive scheme than did against Illinois State. Not to say Arbuckle is going to pull out all the bells and whistles, but I think they will roll out a pretty solid diversity of offensive concepts, especially in the passing game, just to kind of get him comfortable heading into the week of the Texas game. Uh, Obviously, operating under the assumption that he does have to start the Texas game. And then it's getting Giovanni Gibson back up to speed. I mean, Giovanni Gibson, we heard it all spring, man. All spring. This dude, up until the injury, is Oklahoma's wide receiver one.
Yep.
Clear wide receiver one. And so we don't know what he's going to look like post injury as opposed to pre injury because he's just now starting to practice again. So we're going to have to wait till there's a body of work on the practice field for us to understand where Giovanni's at relative to where he was before the injury. But if he is the difference maker that he was expected to be when he showed up and immediately started blowing everybody away, in testing and workouts and all that, then that's going to do wonders for this offense, Brandon. Wonders. I mean, consider with how well Oklahoma's wide receivers have played thus far. Consider how much better this offense gets if you drop into the picture a guy that is better than Deion Burks and Isaiah Satania and Keontae Lewis.
Mm-hmm. I mean, the Giovanni Gibson is not just a possession guy. Like he's your head topper. He's your guy. You're going to throw jump balls up, and he's going to be able to out physical the defensive back, and that's exactly what he was known for during his time in practice. So I'm excited to see it. I think OU fans should be excited as well. I think we have one more.
We do.
Uh, uh, I think it's
Wait, actually,
H
we have
Tech.
two. We have two
Okay,
more.
we
Yeah.
got two more.
CJ
Uh,
Anderson tosses $5. What changes do y'all think we can make to fix the run game? Extra linemen, scheme, etc. Love the show. Thanks. Well, we love you, CJ Anderson. Thanks for tuning in. And thank you for the contribution.
yes, sir.
As far as what needs to change with the run game, I mean, it would certainly help if Jaden Ott started to look like Jaden Ott, Brandon. That'd be a good place to start. But can you count on that at this point?
You cannot.
Because I mean, here we are, 4 games into the season. He has 9 carries for 17 yards and didn't play at all last week. I mean,
It's
I will be ready to write the epitaph on the Jaden Ott experiment if he doesn't produce in a big way against Kent State. I am holding out hope for one more game and one more game only.
mm-hmm.
If we do not see Jaden Ott in a drastically expanded capacity, having success on the ground against arguably the worst team in the FBS, you can call the coroner at that point because it's over.
Yeah. No, I agree. He has to get going. He has to show why he was such a big deal in the portal. I mean, again, like we said on the podcast, or like I said on the podcast, this was a big win for Jim Nagy, like in the portal cycle. Like that was a big win. And it's obviously like I think people need to understand like this guy was a star at Cal Berkeley. This is not on Jim Nagy. Uh, the fact that Jade Knott hasn't produced at Oklahoma. This is on Jade Knott. Jade Knott's either going to put up or shut up at this point. And you can expect everybody, if he doesn't put up, not so much turn their back on him, but really think that, you let the NIL get ahead of your game on the field. And that's exactly the way it looks right now. Unfortunately, like that's the unfortunate side of it is, perception's reality. Sometimes a big head gets in the way of a lot. H Texas fan 80, thank you so much for the $10. Which happens first for Kanik? Does he get 100 yards in a TD, or does Ott actually get onto the field? That's a good scenario.
Well,
Like
I mean, hey, the
I'm gonna
safe
go
money seems
Kanik.
to be on 100+ yards and a touchdown for Jaron Kanik because man, and honestly, I hope they throw his way a lot in the Kent State game
Me too.
because he's got the chance to stat pad in a big way and start making some serious noise for the Mackey Award, man. I mean, he's on pace to have one of the most productive seasons of all time from the tight end position at the University of Oklahoma. The
Crazy.
only thing that hasn't come yet is the touchdowns. He has not yet scored, but he has been a reliable weapon across the middle of the field and just, I mean, a safety net, a safety blanket in many ways for John Mateer. It's clear that when the Sooners need to move the chains or they're in a gotta-have-it situation of some kind, he's looking Jaron Kanik's way. And
Mhm.
more often than not, Kanik's right there.
Kanik has a knack of just getting open.
Mhm.
Like anytime something happens, and again, we've asked him about that in post game. He just says, "Well, I'm a former defensive guy, and it helps me out because I know what the defense is trying to do. I know when it breaks down where their weaknesses are, and it makes it easy for him to kind of highlight that and get open, find the holes in the defense, and it's paid off big time for him. It doesn't hurt that he's a freak of an athlete, obviously. I think that goes a very, very long ways. His athleticism, his ability to get open, his ability to catch the ball. I think his hands have been more shocking than anything else. The fact that he has such good hands, the fact that you're not dealing with drops or just like random issues. Yeah, on that, the reverse pass or whatever, that was the one, or the flea flicker, excuse me. That was the one time. That's it. Everything else he's done, and he's made some very, very hard contested catches that seasoned tight ends sometimes don't make, Parker. It's just, he's been a massive, massive surprise for OU and in a very, very good way. We don't have any more super chats, do we?
I don't believe so. I think we're all caught up for the time being, at least.
Well, I'm going to say this. Um, just looking at it right now, we have close to 3,000 people on this live right now. Thank you so much. That's an amazing deal. Thank you, Sooner Nation. Your support. You're why we do it. You're why we do it. 100%. We enjoy doing this with you guys. So thank you guys so much for joining us tonight. I want to get your thoughts on this link because I kind of agree. And it's a two-part thing with Lane Kiffin. I kind of agree with Lane Kiffin. And my brother sent a text message. I'm going to read it too. That kind of goes in line with this, the scheduling part. Um, Lane Kiffin was asked about, the rivalry, the permanent, games, and Ole Miss obviously is playing Oklahoma for the next 4 seasons at least. And when he was asked about it, he said, "Yeah, Oklahoma is really disappointing. We don't have anything in common with them or our fans, so that doesn't make any sense at all." And so that's unfortunate with so many great teams that we've played for a long time here, especially from our SEC West years. So that's unfortunate. End quote. My brother texts, by the way, why did they have to have three permanent rivals in the SEC? Couldn't they just schedule rivals as they are and see which ones come up, basically, or build up over time and then kind of make them permanent moving forward instead of essentially trying to force it? And he said also Texas never got OU's murder schedule. They have had either that everyone was told was going to happen. They're both valid questions. Like, Texas never got that murderers row that Oklahoma got. And by the way, I was able to confirm that it was based off the records over the previous 10 seasons, and Oklahoma being good for the past decade leading up to the SEC scheduling is why OU ended up with murder row and Texas ended up with, I guess, okay schedule.
Okay, so what was the first question, though?
So what did you think of Lane Kiffin?
I mean, the first question that your brother posed in that
Oh,
text.
okay. Yeah, yeah. Why did they have to go to the three permanent rivals in the SEC? Couldn't they have just scheduled rivalries, the ones that they've already had, and just kind of figure out who was becoming a rivalry and then make it permanent from that point on instead of trying to
Well, I
force it,
think well,
essentially
I
is what
think
he's
that's what
saying.
they're trying to do with Oklahoma Ole Miss, though, because these aren't permanent. They're just for the next 4 years. And so they're going to be reevaluated at that point. And if you have something of a rivalry that's starting to form between Oklahoma and Ole Miss, then great. If not, you move them along to the next opponent, which in my mind, like I was hoping for Arkansas. I was hoping for Texas, Missouri, and Arkansas. And
Yeah.
if not that, then Texas, Missouri, and LSU. Ole Miss, I'm kind of ho-hum about. I don't hate it. I don't love it, but I don't hate it. I'm largely indifferent towards Ole Miss
I
as
thought
a.
Auburn would be a good one at this
I thought
point.
Auburn would have been a good one, but
They already
they
have,
have some
yeah,
well-established
very well
rivalries.
established. Yeah.
Yeah. So
I thought the South Carolina with them is a little push, though. I just, and maybe it is a big rivalry that we just don't look at it as a big rivalry from where we stand. And maybe it is to them. You know what I
yeah.
mean? But I thought Auburn and Oklahoma, yeah, it feels like it's becoming that. The last 2 seasons have been just awesome.
And to be clear, as far as Lane Kiffin's comments, I have no issue with them, and I
Me
don't think
either.
anyone should.
Nope.
Like it's not a dig towards Oklahoma. It's not it's not anything that should be construed as pejorative. All it is, he's just
Wow.
saying, "Hey, look,
The word.
our schools don't really have a whole lot of history, and they don't. They've played each other twice on the gridiron, twice. 1999 in the Independence Bowl and last year. And that's it.
The
And so
99 one was great. This
I
year, the
get where he's
last year was
coming
not.
from.
Yeah.
I get where he's coming from.
I did not like the Ole Miss. And look, he even there's people in the comments of that were like, yeah, OU fans are disappointed as well. Yeah, they are. They wanted Arkansas. They wanted Texas A&M. I think that to me was a two perfect fits for Oklahoma as far as like the Missouri one. Again, I get it, dates back to the Big 12, all that type of stuff. They're not a rivalry to Oklahoma. I'm sorry if you're watching Missouri fans, you're not a rivalry to Oklahoma.
Dude, like
Oklahoma,
honestly, I don't think that's one that either side considers a rivalry. Like I don't know that Oklahoma considers Missouri a rival. I don't know that Missouri considers Oklahoma a rival.
I think Missouri considers it more than Oklahoma.
Do they?
Just be
Like I genuinely love to know. Like, do people on the Missouri side think Oklahoma is a rival? Do they think of that as a rivalry game?
what? Okay, I guess the better question. I think it's an age thing, though. I think if you ask people
Maybe.
my age that are 35 and above, they probably would see it from Missouri. They probably would see it as a rivalry because they played so often in the Big 12 title, right? They
Sure.
played, they both teams were ranked almost every time they played in the Big 12. Um, so to them, but Oklahoma on the other end was always worried about Texas and Nebraska and Oklahoma State, and that was their rivals. Missouri had Kansas, and that was about it. I know that the SEC has tried to make the Missouri Arkansas rivalry. They've tried to make Arkansas LSU a rivalry. I just I don't see it. I just don't see it. But at the end of the day, I think just from a state standpoint, OU Texas A&M fits. OU Arkansas fits. I'll give them Missouri just because there's a long history of OU playing Missouri dating back to the Big Eight and I think the Big Six. But I don't know. I just never saw them as a rival. It's gonna be now because they're playing each other every year, so it's going to become a rival. Like that one is going to organically become a rivalry way easier than any other thing.
Well, and I think Oklahoma and Missouri fans, even if they didn't have much of a history as fan bases or didn't feel like they did, they all came to hate each other pretty quickly over the last couple of years. So there's already some good solid animosity there.
Yeah, I just never saw them a rival. They and yeah, I'm just gonna say Sugio English one, Segoy English one, excuse me. He talked about how they only played twice in the Big 12 title game and all that type of stuff in the comments. I was just kind of skimming it, just having to be at the top there. Um, yeah, but there were times when Missouri was ranked number one and Oklahoma would play him, or OU was ranked number one and they would go to Columbia. I was at the one uh, in Columbia, Missouri. I think it was 2010, and it was like a gold out or whatever they call whatever it was, yellow out or whatever. And there were chicken bones being thrown at us when we were walking into the stadium, like chicken wing bones. Like literally, they were like throwing them as hard as they could. Ask Parker. It was wild. Those fans are nuts. They're throwing them at kids. That was the crazy part. Like 8-year-old kids. Missouri fans are crazy. Love them, but they're crazy. Um, let's talk recruiting a little bit. Uh, the 2026 class, it's the 19th overall. You had obviously Braden Allen in town. Um,
Jacob
where do you
Curry.
think? Say what?
Jacob Curry.
No, yeah, I was going to talk about Braden Allen first.
Oh,
But
okay.
yes, Jacob Curry was in town as well, 4-star linebacker. 2027 class, Cooper Haggett, 5-star, who's committed to Texas Tech out of Fort Gibson, was in town again. He will be in town several more times this season. As far as the 26 class goes, do we expect any other surprises in offers, in visits? Do you think Oklahoma's continuing to evaluate? I know they've had several meetings this week over evaluating several 26 players.
Hmm.
Obviously, one, Daniel McMorris, Norman North offensive lineman, ended up getting offered. But they have had several scouting meetings during this bye week to really go over some 26 guys that they may be trying to push forward towards. But do you expect any other like big offers to go out, surprise visits or anything like that down the line?
I think there's the potential, especially if Oklahoma keeps this thing rolling in the win column, that they could come up with a flip or two down the stretch. But right now, I mean, the guys that are in clear focus are Jacob Curry, Braden Allen, Daniel McMorris now, and then Milan Paris as well. It's about those four. By the way, what a name, Milan Paris.
Yeah, I love it.
But
I love it.
I think those four guys are the ones that are most clearly in focus as Oklahoma looks to round out this 2026 cycle. There may be other names. I know there are some other guys whose names Oklahoma would prefer to keep quiet, that they're kind of kicking around on and
Hmm.
seeing if they can seeing if they can get some traction there over the last couple months of the cycle. But yeah, those are the four to know right now. Milan Paris, Jacob Curry, Braden Allen, Daniel McMorris.
Yeah, I think when you talk about the ones that are kicking the tire around quietly, Milan Paris was one of those
Yep.
until they figured out like, and we talked about it for a while on OU Insider, just kind of a name to watch. And these guys that we're talking about publicly, those names we really can't say right now, like watch for this guy or watch for that guy, because Oklahoma, much like Milan Paris, until they felt like they had good enough traction, they didn't even offer him until they felt like they had good enough traction that they felt like they were going to end up with an official visit at the very least. And that's how they're going about this as well. Like these other names, and there's some big ones out there that they're just kind of quietly just talking to, trying to make some waves with a little bit, trying to make a move here or there. And if they feel like they can get an official visit or get them back to Norman, you'll start seeing it pop out, those names pop out publicly. But until then, it's just kind of hush hush type deal. Um, as far as 27 goes, I think OU fans should be super excited about this class, Parker. Like super excited about this class. If I was going to, and I know Texas Tech fans are going to hate this, if I was going to put money on Cooper Hackett being a Sooner right now, and you wanted me to say percentages, I would probably put it about 65% he's a Sooner at this point. And I don't think that's high. I
No,
think
that might
that's
be low.
that'd be low.
That might be low.
Like if it'll be after his National Signing Day when we will really dive into why all this took place, how this took place, all that type of stuff. When we do our post National Signing Day uh, chats and all that type of stuff. But this is one of those recruitments, and I think Jalen Brewster is another one to watch in that instance. Like he's leaning tech. I don't think that's a secret to anybody. He's leaning tech. That by the time National Signing Day rolls around, I think I would be shocked if they both signed with Tech at the end of the day.
Yeah. I mean, the same kind of goes for LaDainian Guyton, their top overall commit in the 27 class, right? I mean, what are the odds? What are the odds a five-star from the state of Georgia ends up actually signing with Texas Tech? Committing is one thing,
Mm-hmm.
signing is another. So a lot of those SEC schools, especially when you're dealing with a five-star edge rusher, are gonna like when it comes time to make it happen, they're gonna do what it takes to make sure he doesn't go play college football in Lubbock, Texas, of all places.
Yeah, no, I look, and I love Joe McGuire. I think Joe McGuire is one of the better coaches in college football. He's better. He's definitely one of the best recruiters. And of course, of course, having a billionaire behind you, you know, uh, doesn't hurt. But he's always been an elite recruiter. He was doing a really good job recruiting the Texas Tech before he was backed by millions of dollars in NIL. This just exemplified what it is. Like he has think people need to understand how entrenched he is in the Texas high school football coaching world because he was a Texas high school football coach. So they love him. He's in that fraternity and will forever be in that fraternity. And you don't call it it's not a cult, but like they are very much, they're hand in hand.
Mhm.
Once you're in, you're in. And the second you betray them, oh my God, you're out and you aren't getting back in. You are
Yeah.
not getting back in. They are a tough crowd to crack, man. So he's in, and that's why it's so tough. That's why
We
you see Oklahoma hiring Texas, uh, former Texas coaches in the high school world to be part of, or just coaches and former high school coaches in general to be a part of their recruiting teams and stuff like that, because you have to have that type of guy to lead the charge and get in with all those coaches. Parker, what as far as the season goes, let's say Mateer gets healthy. Hypothetically, he gets healthy for Texas. They're 4-0. So we'll do the hypothetical with and without him, okay? They're 4-0. He plays against Texas. How we have seen these teams play remaining on OU's schedule, what do you think Oklahoma's finishing record is at this point? I know we both said 9-3, 10-2 to start the season. Is there a world where Oklahoma's 11-1 in your mind?
11-1.
Yeah, assuming, and this is with Mateer coming back against Texas.
Yeah, there's a world. A lot has to go right. I mean, Tennessee, I'll say this. Tennessee looks like a tougher game than it did probably at the beginning of the year with how Joey Aguilar's playing. Alabama still looks tough. LSU maybe doesn't look as daunting, especially at home, but still have to consider that's a very talented football team. Uh, Missouri looks better than expected. Ole Miss, probably about the same. Probably commensurate right now with what preseason expectations were for me as to what the eye test would say about that program. South Carolina, kind of same deal. Like assuming they have Lenore Sellers and he's playing
Mm-hmm.
and playing the type of ball that we've seen from Lenore Sellers in the past, that's gonna be a tough game. So, like, look, is 11-1 off the table? No. You may have the best quarterback in college football. You may have the best defense in college football. Those two factors alone give you a chance to get there, but a lot has to go right. And man, we have to see a level of week over week consistency from this program that we just frankly haven't seen in the Brent Venables era to this point
Yeah.
over the course of an entire year.
I said 8-4, big homie. Thank you for reminding me. I said 8-4. I thought I said 9-3. My bad. I really did think I said 9-3. I know I debated between both of them. I think I took the worst record, which I'm okay with. 8-4. I hope I'm wrong on that. I 100% hope I'm wrong on that. I will take egg on my face, me saying 8-4, than I would going 10-2 or 11-1, and they end up 6-7. You know what I mean? So, which they're not going to at this point. We all know that, but um, yeah, look, I don't. There's a world for me with 11-1. There's a world. Uh, I think this defense is good enough to put Oklahoma at 11-1. The run game is going to be the make or break as far as Oklahoma being 9-3, 10-2, 11-1. Because I think 9-3 is probably where you're sitting at with the most likely scenario, no matter who the quarterback is, whether it's Hawkins or Mateer. I think 9-3 is the most likely scenario. 10-2 would be hella impressive because at Tennessee is really good. At Alabama, I think there's a world where Alabama wins this weekend, Parker. I really do. Like, I'm not predicting it, but I think there's a world they win this weekend. I don't think it's outlandish to say Alabama wins.
So who would you pick?
I pick Georgia.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I just
Well, I mean, yes, there is a world in which Alabama wins,
no, but I know
but
you're being a smart aleck, but like I like I just don't think that it's. I think it's like 60-40. Like I'm not like I don't think it's like cut and dry like most people because I think Ty Simpson's been playing really well. So, but we'll see
He
how
has been.
physical they are.
He has been playing really well. We
Yeah.
have another super chat, by the way,
Okay. Let's go for it.
courtesy of Ken Watson, who threw us $10. Thank you, Ken. Can't OU discuss our running games? Other than Mateer running does not look good, so do we needs betterer offensive lineman?
Okay. Repeat that question. I am so lost on that.
Can't OU discuss our running games? Other than Mateer running does not look good, so do we needs betterer offensive lineman man? I think what he's asking is
Okay. I was like so confused. Like you read it verbatim instead of like, I
I
know what
think
he's
what
trying
he's
to say.
asking is, do Oklahoma's struggles in the run game start up front with the offensive line?
Yes and no. Yes, but there have been holes that the running backs have just flat missed. It's we talked about it. Auburn. There was several cutbacks that Blaylock missed that he would have been one on one with a backer or safety if he would have just taken the cutback lane. Instead, he tries to stretch it and pop it outside, and he gets strung out because Auburn's front seven's fast and they flow sideline to sideline really good. If he cuts back, the look, people need to understand teams like Oklahoma, teams like Auburn, teams like Georgia, when you use the cutback and you run straight ahead at them, that's where you're going to beat them because that puts their speed against them. The second you start trying to go outside and stretch it, now you're playing into their game because they're fast. They're fast defenses. They want you to go sideline to sideline. That's why OU was so successful against Auburn because what Auburn does is try to stretch you sideline to sideline, whether with the screen game, the run game, even the quarterback counters with Jackson Arnold. They want to get to the outside. They want to get between that tackle and guard. They do not want to just go straight up the gut. They do not want to do a lot of misdirection. Now they do some misdirection. They do counters. I won't. I'm not saying that. It's just they use a lot of eye candy to try to get you to to screw up and get you to go sideline to sideline and mix you up. Oklahoma's defense is just too fast for that, and that's where Oklahoma was more successful against them. So, yeah, it's more on the offensive line, but there's been some missed holes. Definitely, 100%. The running backs are have some saying this. I again, I can't accentuate this some more than anything, man. We're looking at Parker. I believe. Let me look. We're looking, bro. We're at like 4,000 people on here. 4,000 OU fans are on here right now. Literally. Thank you guys. Like I'm humbled. And I mean that from the bottom of my heart, like humbled. This
Tune
has
in to the
been
Under the Visor podcast tomorrow when we'll catch up with Dr. Stephen Shin.
wait,
It's
what?
false advertising. I lied there.
Okay. You did not put it like whoa. I was like, wait, what? It's like we did
That would
not
be
discuss
awesome.
that in the production meeting. All right, all right, all
That would
right.
be awesome. But I don't think
Okay.
I think Stephen Shin has more important things to do than talk on podcasts.
Yeah, for sure. Uh anyways, yeah, look, this has been a really good podcast. I hope everybody's enjoyed it. Um I again, did you say what you think? Do you have OU still 10-2? Is that your prediction or 9-3?
9-3 was my original prediction. I'll stand by it.
I think I
I
said
think
10-2.
I mean they've bought themselves a little bit of margin by going 4-0, and it will be 5-0 once you get past Kent State. So all you got to do is be one game over 500 over the second half of the season. All you got to do is go 4-3 after what will be a 5-0 start. That's attainable. There's no reason why Oklahoma shouldn't hit that mark.
Somebody said Brent Venables is on here. Stop
Yeah,
crying
shout out
wolves.
to Brent Venables who's watching us live right now. Appreciate you,
I love
coach.
it. Yeah. I totally I totally could not see that being the case. If it is, hey, appreciate you, coach. um, so you still have 9-3. So he said,
Yeah, 9-3.
yeah. Okay. So big homie said I said 8-4. I think I said 10-2. Checking back, multiple people said mine was 10-2. I didn't write it down. I believe I said 10-2 because I think if I remember correctly, you were shocked by me saying that Oklahoma would beat LSU at the end of the year, and that was
Yeah, I think I convinced you to drink the Kool-Aid and
you
change your
did.
prediction from 8-4 to 9-3, as I recall. By the way, Brent in the chat said 9-3. I need you to meet me in my office. I have some words for you. So I guess we're going to the big office tomorrow.
Hey man, that office is awesome. Kick back up in there. You could probably have a really good uh like that would be an amazing place. Like OU should really rent that out for like fantasy football drafts and just let random fans go in there and have their draft parties inside there.
By the way, Coach, let me know, are we still on for this weekend? Because I got to prepare for however many wings I need to make. Kick him back over the bye. Watching a
Yeah,
loaded college football slate out here in Blanchard, America. That's what's up.
that's hilarious. All right. Well, I think that's going to do it for this version of the OU Insider. We've totally digressed on this OU Insider Under the Visor YouTube Live powered by Riverwind Casino. If you're not subscribed to this podcast, whatever podcasting platform you listen to us on, you watch this on, whether it's YouTube, whether it's Spotify, Apple, subscribe, give us thumbs up, give us 5 stars, give us a like. Thank you guys so much for being on here with us. If you're not subscribed to OU Insider, we've got a ton of information over there, recruiting. We've got a ton of team information. We've got some backstories on Mateer's injury. All of that's over there. Some VIP nuggets, some team intel. All that's over there on OU Insider, VIP, the Lindsay Street Board. All you have to do is go to ouinsider.com. You click on the join now, and it'll send you to another page where you can either get OU Insider for, month to month, or you can join month to month and get a complimentary 1 year of the Athletic, complimentary of OU Insider, and on 3. That's a 2-for-1 deal. Uh, Love to have you guys on there. If you're a college student with a .edu email, again, .edu email. If you're a teacher with a teacher's school account, email account. If you're active duty military, email us ouinsider@rivals.com from your .edu. It doesn't matter what college you go to. I always say it, Timbuktu University. I don't care if you go to Oklahoma State. Actually, you want to know what? We've had about 100 Oklahoma State college students sign up through this. So yeah, uh, email us ouinsider@rivals.com from your .edu. Email us from your teachers, your .k, your .edu, your .k12, whatever it is that you email from your teacher's account. Email us from your active duty military account as proof that you are a student, that you are a teacher, that you are active duty, and we will send you a promo code to get OU Insider for $1 a month for 3 months. That'll get you through the rest of the football season. Plus, you'll get the transfer portal. You'll get all that type of stuff. The bowl season, National Signing Day. You'll get it all if you sign up right now with OU Insider. We'd love to have you join the thousands and thousands of OU fans on there right now. Our board has been hopping. It's been busy. It's been a blast. The community is amazing. Big homie J-Man, that dude's on there all the time. One of the best trolls you'll find on here and on the board. So make sure you join. Hang out with all of us over there at OU Insider, Lindsay Street VIP board. All right. For Parker Thune, my name's Brandon Drum. For Spencer Forsythe on the board as well, my name is Brandon Drum. That's going to do it for this version of the OU Insider Under the Visor YouTube Live powered by Riverwind Casino. You guys have a blessed night. We'll see you next week.